Hi, I'm Jamie and welcome to Teachers Tech. Today I want to show you how to use Microsoft Power BI Desktop for Beginners. We're going to go through it step by step. We're going to go get the data, bring it in, and I'm going to give you that data so you can follow along and build it yourself. We're going to take it, then transform it and shape it to what we need, and then we're going to build some visualizations like the ones I have right behind me here. Then I'll show you how to share it out at the end. So those are the 4 steps that we'll go through. Let's get started on doing this today on Teachers Tech. If you want to follow along with today's Microsoft Power BI's tutorial, you'll need to make sure that you get Power BI installed on your desktop. Now, to do this, just go to the Microsoft Store, do a search for Power BI, and you're going to get a few different options. We want to make sure that we install the Power BI desktop. This is free to do. And then you'll be able to connect with the data that I give you and follow along with all those steps. I went and opened my Power BI desktop, and when you do this, you'll get this screen right here. Notice that I can go ahead and connect to my data at this point, and I can go to my recent sources or open other reports that I have saved. For now, I'm just going to close out of this because I want to give you a little walk around here. So just like other Microsoft products, we have our tabs across the top. Inside each of these, you'll see the ribbon change, and we have the groups. On the left-hand side here, as we go down, we have 3 different views that we'll be switching between. On this beginner's tutorial here today, we'll be looking at the report view and the table view. Right now, we don't have any data in, so you're not going to see anything in there. You get some quick ways to connect your data right here. And then over on the other side, on the right side, you can see we have filters. I can open and close these as I move around if I want more real estate. But as we create our visualizations, we're going to be working from over here. And if you're used to Microsoft Excel, if you look at the very bottom here, you can see that we have different pages that we can create. So we can have our different visualizations on each page, but I'll talk about that later. For now, let's go and get some data, and we can start under the Home tab in the ribbon, Get Data, and we can do this from multiple sources. So in today's tutorial, we're going to use a CSV file. I could use an Excel file. I could connect to the web. You can connect to data in so many different ways. You can see this. We're going to be doing it in 2 ways with the CSV file, and we're actually going to connect to the web to bring in another table. If you want to see a different tutorial on Power BI that I have using an Excel sheet, I'll go put the link there, and you can walk through that one if you want to gain a little bit more knowledge. But I'm going to type CSV here. And right now you can see as I do a search, it's right here. So this is the file that I'm going to add down below in the description that you can save on your computer and then upload it. So I'm going to go just click on this, hit Open Sheet. And when we bring this in, this is where we can start to transform or shape our data. Let's say for my purpose today, I want this data to help me find where to sell sunglasses. And I don't need to bring in all these different columns. That's why I need to transform this data. I'm interested in the weather, I'm interested in the state, and the maybe the affordability. So I need to transform this. So I'm going to go ahead and click Transform. When I do this, this will open up the Power Query Editor. And this is where I can make those changes. The first thing I want to point out, over on the left, we have Sheet 1. That's what I brought in. So you're going to see your queries. I could have multiple queries here. I'm going to change the name from Sheet 1. If I look over on the other side at Properties, I can give it a new name. So let's call this State Weather Rankings. And I could change this later if I want, but this will work for now. And now if I look at the query, that is changed. Another important thing to look at as we go along are these applied steps, because every time I make a change, you're going to see a step added. I can go back and X those out and then go back a step as well. So first of all, with this data that I have, the thing that's I'm most interested in is actually the weather ranking, because I think it's going to connect directly with my sunglasses sales. So if I look at my weather column here, you can go ahead and sort ascending, descending. So if I go to ascending, and if I move back over to my states, now you can see we have Hawaii, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana. All of these seem like great places to sell sunglasses. Some other things that I can do to this, I could change the different columns in different ways. So if I go here and if I want to change the data type of something, I can right click. So I have this column selected, and then we can go to change type right here. So why you would want to use this, here's an example. If you were selling a product and it was about quantity of sales, and for some reason the data you uploaded, it was coming in with decimals in there, but you actually only need whole numbers, you could change that whole column to make sure that it pushes the whole number out. In this case, I'm not changing any of these. You'll also find the change type when you have it up top in the ribbon under transform and under the home tab. We can make the changes here as well. I can select multiple columns. So if I hold shift down, I can select multiple ones. You can see as I keep clicking. And if you need to select ones that aren't connected, so if I select this column and hold control, I can go ahead, I'll do that one more time. I can select them apart from each other. So just if you are selecting, then you can apply those changes to both at the same time. Now, another thing what I can do is, I don't think I really need the bottom the bottom 10 of this, because I want to be able to just drop them out and have a shorter list. If I go up and look at remove rows here, so notice I can remove bottom rows. I'm going to click on that and it's going to come up with how many bottom rows do I want to remove. I could go at this point and hit OK. So if you look down the list, now I have 40. So different ways you can start to shape and transform this data. And if I take a look at my applied steps here, this is where I can go back at any time. If I hit the X, if I go down now, notice they're all back. But I do want that on, so I'm going to just remove those rows one more time here, and it's put back. Let's remove the columns that I don't need for this example. And let's start with this one right here. If I want to remove this one, I can right click right up here and you'll notice that there is a remove. I go do that and it's gone. I could also select, I'm going to put this one back. I could also select 2 at a time and do the same thing to remove multiple columns. Another way you can do this, if you go up top to choose columns here, I'm going to go and just deselect which ones do I want. Let's say I want state, overall, affordability, weather. Just for an example, I'll do those 4. So as soon as I hit OK, notice now I'm at the ones that I've selected. So it makes it very quick to take those columns out. So I'm almost done with shaping the data from this point. If I look at my applied steps, I just want to point out, if I go and right click on them, I can go ahead and rename this. So if you wanted to rename it to something specific, maybe that helps you remember, you can do that. You can delete here. You can even move them before. The thing I wanted to point out, let's say if I was going to go delete sorted rows, notice when I go to do this, I get a warning. Are you sure you want to delete this step? Deleting this step may affect subsequent steps. So what that means is, I'm going to hit cancel because I don't want to delete it, is that, well, I've sorted it here, but then I removed the rows. So that could change it. So that could create a problem or break the query. So just, you'll be prompted with that message. The next step is that we're going to combine some data inside of this, and we're going to grab it from a website. And the website is going to bring in abbreviations for me. Notice that we just have the state name, but I want to connect this with a site that will have the abbreviation that I can add another column to. So I'm going to go to new source here. And when I just do the drop down, I'm going to go from the web. At this point, I'm just going to paste a URL, and this URL will be down below in the description, so you can copy and paste it as well into here if you're following along. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. So when this loads up, you're going to see a bunch of different table options through here. This is what we want here, the codes and abbreviations for the US states. I'm going to choose this, and I'm going to open this up in Power Query and do some shaping. So once this is selected, I can hit OK down here and it comes in. So I'm going to get rid of some of the columns I don't need, because I do want to keep this column 1 and column 2 and column 4. The other ones I can remove. So let's go choose the columns that I want to keep. So which ones do I want? Columns 1, 2, and 4. The rest I don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And just like that, it was already starting to shape in a lot more practical way. The next thing what I want to do is actually apply a filter. And to do this, I want it just to be the states. I don't want the federal district here or federal state. I just want to make sure it says states. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and drop down here and choose text filter here. So I'm going to click on text filter equals. And what do I want to have it equal? Well, I'm just going to type in state. Just like that. So notice how it's typed. That's what I want. And I'm going to go and hit OK. Notice how this cleans this up even more. Everything listed in here is just the state. These other items are now not showing. Not deleted, just not showing because of the filter. I'm going to adjust the column names here. So this is going to be state up here, just rather than just column 1, 2, and 4. And this is going to be status. And this one is going to be abbreviation here. Let's go and make a change of the name. We'll just shorten this up. I'm going to just call this state abbreviations, and I'm going to delete the rest here. And we'll see that change pop over here, just to make it a little bit easier to read. Okay, so what we need to do now is combine our data. We're going to take this table and add it to our state weather rankings over here. So if you look up top, we have combine on the ribbon right here. So there's a couple different things. There's merge queries and append queries. So when you have one or more columns you'd like to add to another query, you merge the query. When you have additional rows of data you'd like to add to an existing query, you append the query. So we're adding columns here to this one over here, so we're going to be merging them. So I'm going to go and click on state weather ranking here and just click on merge queries right here. So when this comes up, I have my state weather rankings, and I need to drop down here and choose the other one. So it's state abbreviations. What are the two different columns? You have to select your column. So here's the one column and here's the next column. At this point, I'm just going to ignore the privacy level. So I'm going to just choose this and hit save, just so that goes away. So now that I have this selected, I should get the OK. Make sure you have the two columns selected, or this is going to be grayed out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit OK now. If we check over here, you notice that there's the state abbreviations. I'm just going to expand this, but I have some options. I don't really want all of them right here. I'm just going to go and unselect and choose abbreviation. And now I'm going to hit OK. You'll see that this is all added to this. So if I go through and I check the list, I have 40 here. I have my abbreviations that I combined from this table over here that I took from the web. So we have a couple different things working for us. Now we have this single query table that combines two data sources, each which has been shaped to meet what we want here. Now it's time to build our report. So we just need to go up top here and choose close and apply. The other thing you might want to do is when this is closing is give it a save. You'll notice that in the top left-hand corner, we can click save, and then you can choose where you want to. So I'm just going to call this sunglasses, and we'll just leave it there and I'll keep it in my documents and hit save. Let's start with our first visualization. And if I move over to the right-hand side and look at the data, all I have to do to start this is I'm going to check on state, and watch how quickly this will choose what I need. So if I click state, it automatically puts a map in here that I can move around. So I can grab it and move around, and you can size it as well. So if you wanted it larger, I'm going to add a filter to this in a moment. If it's not working for you, the map, what you might have to do is if you go back to file and then you go to options and settings and options, what you make sure under security is that if you go to map, make sure this is checked on right here, or else it will be blocked. But what I want to do right now is add a filter to this map. I'm only really interested right now in the top 10 places to sell my sunglasses, and it's going to be based upon probably the best weather. I'm going to open up, expand this filter here, and I want to go ahead and add a weather one to here. So if I drop down, and you can see there's basic filtering happening. If I just click to top N, because I want to have the top 10 come up. Now, if I drop down here, I'm going to choose it from the bottom, because what's happening is that the higher the number in this case, because they're adding up a lot of point scales, I want to make sure it's the top 10. So I have to choose the bottom, and then I can just put in a number. I'm going to take the weather that I have, the weather rank here, and I can just drag it into over here. So pay attention to this. I'll make it a little bit bigger. When I hit apply, notice that now there's only 10 spots on here. You can see how Hawaii's over here. We have Arizona, we have Florida. So the different ones that are selected out of the top 10 on that list that we have. I want to change this from just being state up here to top 10 weather states. So if I go over here, you can see it says state. I'm going to double click in here, and I'm going to go right in top 10 weather states here. Just like that. So notice it makes the change. So when we have any different legends or different things, you can just double click over here and it will make the change. Let's add another visualization to this. I'm just going to size this down just to move it up, because I don't need everything showing there. I just want to make sure those states are in place. We're going to place another one right here. So I'm just clicking on the canvas here, nothing selected. I can start it in another way too. So if I go, let's say if I wanted to just put in a clustered column chart. So I'm going to click on it, it adds it. Now I haven't connected any of the data to this. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and open my filters again. And I want it to be kind of on the same thing. It's going to be on my state and weather. So if I select it over here and state and weather, it will add it. Now notice that we have it, all the states here that are listed. I don't want that. I do want that to be a top 10. I'm going to go and drag this up here, and we'll just size it a little bit larger so we can see what's happening. But if we use these three ellipses up here for more options, I can actually sort this. So if I wanted to sort it ascending, notice it will change. So Hawaii's at the beginning part now, and I want it. So I needed to change that. So the next thing, what I want to do is go back and drop down here to what I did with the map before and turn it back to the top N, and it's going to be the bottom, and then the 10, and we can put our weather back in here and apply the filter. So now I have my top 10 that I can work from here. And notice when I click on each one, notice what happens to the map, how interactive this comes at the different points. It will go to where it needs to go on the map. So you can really drill down in this interactive way. If I just click off of it again, and if I click on it, you can see that it goes back to the whole, all the states are represented. Here are a few other changes I can make to this. First of all, let's change the title on here. If I go format your visual, and we have a few different things under visual, but we have general. I'm going to go ahead and open up this. With any of these, whenever you see on, you can slide things off, and that will turn off the title. If I want to just make a quick change here, I can type my title here, and I'm just going to type weather by state, just like that. By state, and that will be my title up there. Notice that I can change my formatting in here depending on what I want, from colors to do you want it bold. You can make all those different changes. Here's something else I can change. Take a look at visual. I'm just going to go back to this one, and maybe I want a zoom slider. It's off by default, but if I select that, notice I have this zoom slider that comes up. So if I start dragging it, I can start to see the top or the bottom of it. So depending on what you want to see, where the rankings are. So there's all these things that you can adjust, and I'm not going to go through them all, but they're pretty easy to play with by turning them on or off and then expanding them to see what's possible with any of the formatting in it. I just want to point out, you can quickly change these at any time. If you have it selected and you want to try a different type of chart, you can select it, and how you had everything set up will apply to that chart. So you can go around and test what it looks like with different ones. I'm just going to keep it with the clustered. I still want to do a couple more examples of these visualizations. And I'm going to do this on a new page. So let's call this page right here. I'm just going to double click in here and I'm going to call this just top 10. And I'm going to create a new page, and this will be for my sunglasses here. So I'll just call this sunglasses, and then we have this new page. The other thing I wanted to point out with these pages, you can go ahead and add a background to them. So if I go to this right here to format our report page, notice that we have wallpaper and canvas background. I'm going to go to wallpaper and I'm going to go to browse, and I have some images here. So let's try this image right here. I'm going to hit open. And at this point, I don't like the way it's stretched out. I'm just going to go and say fit. So it fit it to the page now. So you can add that graphic. So you can go ahead and save a picture and try to add it to the background. You can change the transparency of this a bit here. And if you can see, as I haven't brought anything onto it, but you can make it, just adjust it here if you want it a little lighter. Now, the other thing that I can do to it is I can add some text right here or images. So if I was going to say add a text box here, I could go through and I'll just write sunglasses sales on here. And I can change this box around. I can change the size of this if I want it, just by just like normal ways that you would edit any of these text. If it gets squished up, you can resize it here. Now, if you don't want the background, do check. Now, remember over on the properties how we can change different things with this. So if I go to the effects down here, we have our transparency of the background. And if I bring this all the way over, now it's transparent. I can change the color of my font if I wanted it to try something else. So all these different things that you can adjust. I'm going to go Control Z and just bring it back here. If we want to add a picture to this, just go up to the insert, and what we can do is add an image. You can see there's also shapes, buttons, and text box up here, but I'm going to click on image and just grab these sunglasses that I have, and I can place them where I want, and I can size them on here. So just add a little bit more to this. I'll just put them down here for now. Let's go ahead and add a table, just a simple table, and that is right here. So if we click our table, let's go ahead and make this larger, and I'm just going to drag it closer to over here. Now I'm going to go this time and select state abbreviation. So this is the list right here. I can filter it like I did before if I wanted to drop down and pick my top end. I'll go from the bottom and so on, and then I can add my weather. So I can apply it that way. And then I have a list. I can also add my weather right onto this table. So if I go and add it through here, I'm going to go and change. Notice this is really small right now. Let's go and change our font size. So if I go to here, we have our values. I'm going to increase this to 15, and that makes it a little bit easier. Column headers are still a little bit small, so I can go to my column headers and change it to 15 as well if I want. We'll come back and change those names in a bit. So if I go up here, this is a sort. So if I click on it once, and if I click on it again, notice how it changes each time. So now I clicked on it, it's sorting through, this is the way I wanted to sort. So Hawaii would be the first here. I can quickly add more to this. So if I wanted to add the affordability to this, I have another column, and I can just nudge this over and increase this right here. And now I have affordability. I don't need totals on this. So this is where I would go back to my visualizations and I would just look for total and turn it off. So if I turn this off, that's gone. The other things I can do quickly to this is if I go to the style preset, if I wanted, let's say, contrast alternating rows, it quickly changes this. Or if I just go to a bold header, and you can see how it just has the header. If I go down to any of these, I can adjust the column headers. So here's column headers. If I open that up, I have different options and text that I can go through. Here's the background. If I wanted it to be a blue, and I make that change. Let's change the headings again, just like before. So this is state. So I'm just going to go and get rid of all this stuff in here and type state. This is this one is just the weather. We'll keep it nice and simple in here. And I'm just going to get rid of this here. We'll just call this affordability and make those adjustments to the heading so it's a little bit cleaner than before. So those are some quick ways that you can add, you can go through and add a table to this. I want to add one more thing here before we show you how to share. So the last one I want to show you is just going to be the line and clustered column chart. Let's move this a little bit over here and we'll make this larger. Let's add some data to this. We'll add our weather, our state. We're going to go overall ranked and affordability. This looks messy. Let's cut this down to our top 10 again. Under the state, we'll go to our top end, and it's going to be the bottom here, 10, and we'll bring our weather in and apply the filter. Let's go through. What we can do is sort this. So we'll sort this ascending here, and we got our Hawaii here this way listed, but it all depends on what you look at, what criteria. Let's go and take our quality of our overall rank and move it to the line axis. So I'm going to drag it down. So now it kind of gives a little bit better picture on how you can look at it. It just looks a little neater here too. I'm not going to clean up everything at the moment on this, but you can go through with any of your columns, your legend, and change them so we don't have those ones with all the extra words up top. If we go to the other into format visual, I just want to point out with our X or Y axis, if you don't want things shown or title on any of these, you can just go through and turn on or off depending on what you want to as well. So you can go through and format all those. So let's say we have this all done. How do we share this out with other people? So when you're all done and you want to publish this, just go back to the Home tab, and here is Publish right here. When you click on it, it's going to prompt you to save it. Go ahead and do that. You'll have to log in or type your email in. Go ahead and hit continue. I'm going to choose workspace, select, and we have success. We can open our sunglasses one. After publishing, here it is on the Power BI web service, and you have a few more options here. Take a look at the file. Do you want to download this file, embed this report, generate a QR code to get to this? We can export this. Do you want to export it as a PowerPoint, embed live data, maybe a PDF? Do you want to share this with others or chat in Teams? So even from this point, you still have lots of options to share out. So I hope you like this beginner's tutorial on how to use Power BI. We've walked through 4 steps to get to this final part of publishing. Let me know what you think. Let me know what else you would like to learn. Thanks for watching this time on Teachers Tech. I'll see you next week with more tech tips and tutorials.